Let's have a look at these lions very quickly, because they are feeding on the carcass. Here they are, look at this. There they are, just in there hiding underneath that bush willow. And that's a very, very, very good spot to have a little carcass. Listen, listen. There's some very unhappy little cubs in there that are obviously fighting over the carcass. You might be able to hear their growls. Isn't that cute? And you can just see one of the tiny little cubs just sitting a little bit to the right. And we will try and get a bit better position at some point too. There they are. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to see if I can't get us a better spot so that we can have a view. But it seems as though Brent has found some of the larger mammals in Kenya. Well, it seems as though the adults are sleeping, Brent, but the little ones are definitely tossing and turning underneath this bush willow. But unfortunately, the angle that we got is not the greatest, and they are hiding under the bushes for the moment. I actually can't even make out what they killed. But all I can see is big round bellies, and that makes me very, very happy to see little tiny fluff balls with full bellies. And you can just hear them every now and then. What I might try and do, Craig, should we see if we can get a better... I actually think this is going to be the best spot for the moment. I would like to do a little bit of investigating, but I have a suspicion that if I go any further around, I'm actually just going to have a worse off view. So we're sitting here. Now, I have not seen the Styx cubs for quite some time, so maybe you can all help me out. You saw them with Ali this morning, and what I would like to know is how many cubs are still around. Because the last time that I was here, I think I remember only seeing 5 or 6 of them, if I was not mistaken. But perhaps you can help me by hashtagging Safari Live and let me know exactly how many little ones are still around, and if they are all still here. That would be much appreciated, because at the moment I've only seen 2 of the really little ones, and then I've seen 1 of the older cubs, and I've seen 3 lionesses. So they're all accounted for, and I'm sure that the rest are probably there, but just tucked away to a spot, and I unfortunately can't see them just yet. But it is starting to cool down nicely, and I'm not sure where the closest water is over here. So maybe they get up and go for a drink, especially since some of these little ones are having a fat munch on whatever they are dining on. And also the adults will need to have a drink as well after feasting upon all of this delicious food. There we go, you can just see some movement again. There's one of the little ones just chewing on a stick at the moment. Oh, that's nice. Or have you got a bone over there? Now, this is the fun part. No, it looks like it actually has a little bit of a bone of some sort, and it's just gnawing away on that, just getting the little bits of scraps. But they look very, very, very happy. Now, there's even a couple of battaliers that keep going over the tops of our heads every now and then. So I think the Styx lion's attempt at trying to conceal the prey under this bush willow unfortunately hasn't worked as well, because once the battaliers and the tawny eagles start to spot this carcass, they will roost in the trees nearby, and then that can actually attract the vultures and also start to attract other predators such as lions, even leopards. A leopard would be very brave to come through here, but the hyenas most certainly will show some interest, because there's no big Birmingham boy to keep them at bay, and then of course the vultures are going to come in. So it'll be quite nice to see. For the moment, the adults are not thinking about doing anything but just resting. I actually just saw another paw pop up just to the right of the lioness that we're just sort of looking at over there, that's twitching her arm every now and then. So there must be another little lion. There we go, in the top right hand corner of the screen. Somebody is rolling around. There's 2 little heads there. Okay, it was getting interesting. So now I'm trying to work out how many I've seen. Chantal, has anybody sent through any answers as to how many Styx cubs you guys saw with Ali this morning? RC Bonnie, thank you very much. You said that there were indeed still 6. Well, that's exciting. That's good to know that the little ones are still around. I'm always worried about these little lion cubs, and as you know, the Styx lions have not had the easiest life. They've actually had some hard times. They had a serious battle with mange, and I'm hoping that the little ones are able to overcome it, but I can't even tell you what they look like just yet. But like I said, I'm sure if we're patient, we'll have to be patient, just as Ali was patient this morning, and that definitely paid off, and then hopefully we will get a better sighting of this lot. Now, there was, like I said to you earlier, there was a Birmingham boy that apparently was on Chitwa, but it sounds like it has moved off and gone elsewhere, gone a little bit further south. I was just having a chat with Ari just a moment ago. So you never know what might happen. Again, as it starts cooling down, the boys could start to get a bit more active. And I'm sure Nsuku, who is often the Birmingham boy that hangs around with the Styx pride, is not going to say no to a free meal. And if he does know that there's a kill here, I'm sure he'll come marching on in and try and sneak up the scraps, because I don't think there's very much left. Oh wow, how exciting. So speaking of the Birmingham boys, that's all I had to do, because one has magically appeared and Miss Ali, the lion whisperer, has found him. Yes, they are still munching away. I don't know how much of this carcass is actually left. But the little one that we're looking at now has got a very full belly and has decided just to take a break. Look at that. I'm just going to have a little rest over here, away from all the commotion around the carcass. Now, I think there's two little ones that are there, and you just see their feet moving around every now and then, and their very white bellies. But the rest of them are still tucked away just to the left underneath the bush willow. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to stay here for too much longer. This sighting is very light sensitive because these cubs are still quite young. And when we arrived, we were quite lucky. There wasn't very much pressure, but there are still two more vehicles that want to come in here after us in order to get a view. So we'll spend a couple more minutes with them, but then we will have to pull out. Also, it's not a 3-vehicle sighting like what we normally have, because again, the cubs are still quite young. They're still getting used to the cars. They definitely have settled down a whole lot more since I last saw them. So we only allow 2 vehicles in at a time, and we try and give them as much room as we can to make sure that they are comfortable and not too flustered. But very, very nice though. I'm glad to see that these little ones are still healthy. That little one's just poked its head up again. It's so cute. Look how camouflaged it is. Oh, sweet. Now, Martin from Texas was wondering this afternoon, besides resources, what else would cause a pride to split up? Martin, again, so many different things, like you said, besides take food and water out of it completely. New males coming into an area often cause huge disruptions amongst prides. We see that quite often, and that's sort of happened quite a bit down in the southern sands, where large coalitions of males have come through and stirred everyone up. All the lionesses are not very happy with the cubs. You can hear them growling every now and then. Now again, they're not growling at us, in case you are worried. What's happening is, as they start to get to the end of this carcass, obviously the adults need to eat. They're the ones that are producing milk for their youngsters, and none of them are being weaned just yet. And the little ones get a bit feisty, and we saw this number of different times with the Nguhuma pride, and especially with my favorite little girl, the youngest Nguhuma little lioness now. She was so feisty, and she used to swat even the Birminghams across the face, which I thought was very, very brave. So they're just fighting amongst themselves, and it's very common for lions to scrap over the last little bit of a carcass. The lionesses will get sick of those little ones. They're tolerant of them now, but eventually they're going to start to lose their patience with them, and they will have to behave and learn some table manners. But when I say table manners, I use that word very loosely, because we all know that there's no such thing as table manners out in the bush. You grab whatever you can. You don't worry about wiping your face with a serviette or using a knife and fork. There's no need for that at all. But this is great though. I'm so, so, so happy that we got to see them. Hey little guys, play nice. Now, Surilan, you're wondering if this carcass smells bad. Not yet. It's a little bit pungent, but but not one that will make me sort of hurl over the side of the car, which I normally do. I don't have the strongest of stomachs. I'm quite sensitive to the smells, and the smell of a rotten carcass is not my favorite thing. So I've also strategically placed myself upwind, so I don't sit downwind of the carcass and get the smell of it. It's a bizarre smell when you're around a carcass with lions, especially when they've just killed it. It almost reminds me of hospitals. You get a very iron smell from the blood if they are feasting upon it, and it's not my favorite smell in the whole world. So I'm quite happy that they're almost finished it. They'll probably be done with it, I reckon, tomorrow morning or so. It wasn't particularly big. Yum. Yum, yum, yum. Now they settled down again. I think those little ones are getting quite full now, because as we arrived, they were mainly feasting upon the carcass. So I think that they've had lots and lots and lots to eat already. And we saw the other one was almost bursting at the seam. Its belly was so full. I always like to think it looks like they've swallowed a beach ball. And I don't think they know where to stop either. They just keep eating and eating and eating. It's always very funny to see. But it's important that they gorge themselves and get as much as they can, because a clan of hyenas could come through here. Another, maybe 2 of the Birmingham boys come through here and chase the girls and their little ones off of the carcass, and that could be the end of it. That could be the last mouthful that they get. So they will try and eat everything as quickly and as efficiently as they possibly can. But I think what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to call one of the other guides, and like I said, this is a very, very light sensitive sighting, and we want to give everybody an opportunity to come and see the bundles of joy that are the Styx cubs, and they are looking in much healthier condition. So that's really, really great. Wonderful. Craig, did you enjoy that? It was good. You happy to see some lions? Yeah. Craig's actually looks very nice in that golden light. I wish I could turn the camera around and just show everybody what it looks like from that end. Right, let's go. Hello, Sean. I'm going to head out, so you're welcome to call the next guy in. Cool. Have a lovely afternoon, everyone. Right, let's head out.